We'll skip that part then.
Doesn't quite. Okay, so we have a couple of members of the public here, and so are there any public comment?
Well, I just said something about maybe you guys had a chart about the study, the town study commission survey. Oh, thank you. Yeah, that was my only question. Thank you.
So move on to continued business. Discussion on communication with MSU Local Government Center Director Dan Clark. That's me. I reached out to Dan,
Send him an email.
and
Excuse me.
Yep.
Did we do the?
Oh, we missed that. Sorry. I missed that. Approval of minutes. Luke?
I have those in your packet.
Hi,
Hello, Sam.
good to see you.
Do we want to acknowledge Sam before we? Okay, so Sam, can you just explain where you're from and what you're working on?
Yeah, I work for Montana PBS and I'm working on a project about the local government review process kind of around the state. And so I'm interested in sort of just hearing what kinds of conversations different municipalities around town, around the state are having. And yeah, so I'm interested just to sort of sit in on the meeting and hear what you guys are working on.
okay, great.
Well, thank you. Can you hear everybody well besides me?
I've heard another voice there.
Well, we'll go ahead and introduce ourselves.
I'm Brian Sen. I'm the chair. And you
Oh,
know Luke.
hi.
Yeah, hi there. And Luke, secretary, and then Elena Gagliano, she is the director.
Hi, I'm
Hi.
Elena Gagliano. This is kind of new with the Zoom,
Cool.
so we have some things to iron out, so please forgive us. If you can talk louder,
Oh,
or Lou, can you make it louder? And as far as the camera is concerned, we do have some people from the public that are here. You
okay.
can't see them. We got to set up a camera and get that working right.
That's all right. I think, well, probably once the meeting starts going, I might even turn my camera off and I've got dinner just about done here. So I might
That's
just listen in. But yeah, does anyone have any questions for me before you start?
No, no questions.
Cool.
This is
Yeah.
Elena.
Yeah.
Thank you. I really appreciate that you have an interest in our
Yeah.
study group. Thank you. May I ask, was it potluck that you picked somebody, or did somebody get in touch with you about our county?
Well, so, I have the list of every municipality that voted to undergo this study. And we also have a map for this program I work for, which is called Impact, of all of the counties around the state that we have covered, and then all of the counties that we haven't gotten to yet. This is the fourth season of the show. And Granite County is one. So then I went through the list and was looking at all of the places that we just haven't covered and the places that we haven't talked to, and turns out Granite County is one of those. So I'm reaching out to places that are, on places that we've covered before, Bozeman, obviously, in Gallatin County. But I thought this would be a good place to start of, just to hear from communities that we haven't visited yet.
Again, thank you for coming here. And we not only did the county vote for the study group, but I'm
Mhm.
sure you're aware that the town of Phillipsburg also. And so it's going to be interesting. Again, thank you for your
Yeah,
interest.
for sure. And if anybody is interested in chatting with me, just on background some other time, just about how you think about the study commission and how, its value to the community is, yeah, I'm trying to, hear from as many people as I can. I think it's a really interesting thing that Montana does. And I think a lot of people think about it in different ways. So, yeah. Well, yeah, thanks for having me.
Let me see if I can screen share the minutes. All right.
So, approval of minutes. Did
Yeah.
you approve them?
Yeah.
I have no things, Elena, any comment or addendum?
Um,
Right.
Approved. So moving on to continued business. So in discussion with Ken Clark from the local government center. So I and a couple of questions. And he was very excited. So the questions I asked was, can we contact him from time to time, specific questions? And he said, yeah, that's great. Best way to do it is by email. And you can get his email from the website. So and more of the point for tonight, right? And can we get feedback on the public service form to maximize its usefulness? And he said, absolutely. So he said, we're willing to review your proposed survey and provide feedback. And so we can just, once we get it firmed up tonight, we can send it.
So I did actually get a response from him just earlier today.
Oh.
So I don't have that printed, but I have it right here and I can just tell you guys about it. Did you have more on this topic?
No, that's it. Feedback for the survey. He said, yeah. We can discuss it even over the phone. So he's certainly willing to do that. It's a little more communication over the phone, I think, than email. More to get to. So yeah, so that's good news.
Right, anything further on that?
He did initially.
No, I didn't ask him to attend meetings. I did ask about if he thought it useful to do a training session with us, since we didn't get that in-person one. And he basically said, my course is cover the same material. So unless we have something specific.
The problems I had when we took the course, I took the course.
Yeah.
One of the problems I had, it was confusing. It was something that they did initially for the study commissioners, the training, so they were in person. And they would ask questions and discussions.
Right.
And we could
We could do that.
And
Yes,
so
of course.
to me, when they asked, survey about it, I said, no, I put it was confusing. And nobody was there with answers. And there's still questions that we have. So I'd like to see him maybe come up and do it on Zoom. We can all have it on Zoom. This is going to have to be a little bit better. We should have a monitor so that people can see and we can see them. So I tell them see them. So that's something that has to be hiding. But yeah, as far as the work.
So I'm assuming though that would, I mean, since that would be a more intensive 2 or 3 hour thing, that would be a charge. We'd have to pay for that.
So, would be three, because we took the training, so we had questions and discussions. For instance, there was one major question about the fact that Drummond would have to be involved with, you know, with the combine the county and the towns. And I don't think that's the case. I think we're separate, Granite County does a ballot, yes or no, if we're gonna change the government, the town Phillipsburg, they would have their own ballot. If Phillipsburg says, no, we don't want anything changed, they don't have it. But we would, if we do want something changed. So they're two separate entities. We can work together. We can meet together, have discussions together. When it comes down to the final decision, then Petersburg is on its own.
So you're talking about the two study commissions, right?
I don't know. If they do decide they want to change their government, they have their election.
Right. Right, exactly. And if there is, yeah, if there is a ballot, but if it's a countywide ballot, then Petersburg would every resident of Petersburg is within the county, so they would also be involved in the countywide ballot too. Yes.
Like they want towns, but then
Right.
the towns have their separate.
Yeah, the town, right, just the residents who live within the town. Yeah, that's a separate thing.
As long as it's clear.
Well, I'm thinking, I mean, if we have specific questions for Dan, that would be something to email and see about clarification. I mean, but if you're talking about if you think we need a complete overview of everything, then that would be more appropriate to do, like you said, over Zoom for a couple hour session. So which do you think? Do you have the specific questions, or do you want to?
You know, if we need and questions at that meeting, the work session, and then discuss what questions that we have clarification.
Right. So we have to.
Sort of like when he did when he came to Phillipsburg.
Right. So we'd have to get together then and decide, what our questions are, if they're enough to do like an in-person thing, or if it's just like a couple of questions we can just do either over the phone or, which one?
Okay,
I wasn't involved in.
Just real quick, Sam said he's having trouble hearing you in particular.
see, this is how we, no, but see, this is what happens when. Sorry, Sam, I'll talk louder.
Oh no, sorry. It's all right. I think it might have some more to do with where the computer is facing.
Yeah, it would be easier if we each had our own laptop, and we spoke into it, so this way.
Oh, that's actually a lot better already.
So, I'll speak louder. Okay.
Yeah, I think that sounds better. Like sounds.
Thank you.
Okay, yeah, sorry. Thank you.
Well, so Elena, did you want to reach out to Dan and say we'd like to have you on Zoom for half an hour or something, and would that be possible, or I mean,
We should, and then we should share. Not that we do it individually.
oh yeah, we do it all. I see, right.
It'll be it's not one by one.
I see. Now that is a point. Yes, it would be good, I think, for all of us.
Right.
No, I do like that idea. Yeah, that's a good idea. And so that would be the question if, I mean, even just a conference phone call wouldn't even have to be Zoom, it wouldn't have to be that complex.
Right, yes.
And then we have a budget. And then we have a budget. Money in it, and it's for our use. And we don't have to get approval from the county commissioners because we're our own entity. It should be a budget. We should see and know what the budget is. When we have our meetings, how much we spend, what we have left. That should be something to be
Okay.
discussed.
Yeah. So regarding then talking to Dan about questions, do you want to go ahead and reach out to him and say this is what we'd like to do? Well, true. Okay, I guess that's me then. So you want me to go ahead and like just set up a see what time he has and then get back to you guys?
And what you do is when you send the email to him, you can talk to us, so we know what you said to him. And he'll answer back to him.
Right. So, okay. Yeah. And then just full disclosure, I'm not very good at all the tech stuff, so I don't even know how to make a conference call. You can walk me through it.
So Hunter said,
No, no, phone call. Conference call. Zoom? Okay. Well, I'll ask Dan what will work for him.
I don't have a comment about the Zoom later on. So thank you. I'm sorry.
Okay.
But do you say we need a motion on that or just do it?
I don't know. Do we need a motion? I'll just email Dan.
Okay. You don't ask for public comment if we're done discussing it.
Sure. Okay. Any public comment? Okay. Good. Good. Gina's up on all that stuff. Gina's up on all that techno stuff. Oh, Gina's not there. Oh, okay. Okay, cool.
That's Sam.
Sam. Hi there. I like him.
No, you guys can come closer. Be 6 feet away from each other anymore. So.
Okay. So we'll move on. Anything else on that item? Talking to Dan?
Don't think so.
Okay, moving on to number 5. Reviews and revise the draft of the Granite County Study Commission questionnaire. Okay.
Right. Share this over Zoom as well. Okay, so in the packet, I have the draft that I made as well. We had voted to have me write up a draft based on what questions we wanted to remove and what we wanted to revise and everything like that, and then send that to Dan. So I guess if I just want to make a kind of summary of what I did with that was I had, like we discussed, the self-governing versus general governing powers kind of as an encompassing sort of beginning question besides what Elena had suggested about asking if the person had wanted to establish a study commission and why, as well as just the general register voter thing. But encompassing over the questions on form was about the powers because that it mostly pertains to more so than just the names of the 6 different forms of government. Self-governing powers really mostly pertain to switching to a commission form of government as opposed to an elected um, county officials form, because that basically allows for the various suggestions that are made under the questions and form. Uh, so if we had a commission form, for example, we could have an election for an executive. We could hire a city manager. We could hold nonpartisan elections. Those are all just examples of how self-governing powers would affect that. I um, also specifically mentioned if we should put resources toward the creation of a charter, because that would be prerequisite to having that whole change.
Well, just looking at this, kind of playing devil's advocate, if someone gets this in the mail and they read this, I mean, there's really no explanation about the difference between general and self-governing. Um, and it is quite, and self-governing is quite complex.
I think something that could help in that case would be adding this explanation that self-governing powers would allow all of these suggestions under form, like explicitly stating that. I mean, I do have basically that two-sentence explanation of what is the difference between them, but I can see how it doesn't explain enough. And that was the one area where Dan Clark actually had recommendations, not necessarily in the paragraph where it just explains what those are. It was more so on the first question under powers. So his edits, I'll just read the whole thing with his edits. The adoption of self-governing powers is always preempted by the voter approval of a county charter, which essentially serves as a county constitution, establishing the powers, structures, privileges, rights, and duties of the county government, including specific characteristics such as elected officials' length of terms, partisan or nonpartisan elections, and which officers of the county can be appointed instead of elected. Should Granite County put resources toward the creation of a charter? And again, that was the only place where he had.
Okay, yeah, yeah, that's a little more specific. So that's better.
This is question one under powers.
And Dan edited this and said he saw this.
Yes, he actually just sent this to me today, and he didn't edit anything beyond just that paragraph.
That was, wow, that was the only change or comment he had?
Yeah. And he had told you, right, that he would just mark it up. He didn't say he'd make any further comments.
He didn't tell me specifically anything about that. So, well, he says his exact words were, you can send a Word document and we will share our comments via track changes or discuss them over the phone. I don't know what track changes means. I guess that's the highlighted red. So,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I guess that's it. Huh, so that's the only suggestion he had, really. Kind of surprised.
But would it be your recommendation that I still edit that paragraph before that question?
Well, no, what he added, I think, was far more specific.
Okay.
So I think that improved it. greatly. It made it a little less ambiguous. The only thing is, like, I'm wondering if people are going to look at that and say, well, of course we want all that stuff, not realizing that we've already got all that stuff in place, you know? I mean, but under the general powers, as mandated by the Montana Constitution and legislature. So I'm just wondering if maybe it's a little misleading and people might just read that and think, well, yeah, this is all this good stuff we want, and not realizing we already have, term limits in place and all that kind of thing. I don't know. What do you think? What do you guys think? Oh yeah. Do I have to say that?
Not unless a motion is made, really, but we can still just talk about it.
Okay, yeah, we can still talk about it right now. We're just got yeah. Yes, you have the floor, Elena.
I think that you're giving them too much of a question, and if they're too long, they have too much, but not enough. So really, what does that mean? I think it's a little deeper. The self-governing powers of a county, sorry. A county to what is self-governing only for a county, or is this could be for a town? We get into this stuff, elected officials, term limits, which county department heads. Right now we have, and the way it's set up now is we have 3 districts, and they're in essence large, I think is the term. The whole county.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
You only require, and there's a lot of people that don't understand that. You throw in something at them. And I think that's one of the things that I don't agree with the town of Phillipsburg survey. It was too complicated, it was too long, people lose their attention. You read this, this says, I'll say no. This is yes. It should be very simple in my mind. And I think that's important. Are you a registered voter in Granite County? Okay, fine. Yes or no? Did you vote yes or no to establish a local government study commission? Did you vote yes? On the opposite hand, if you voted no, give the reasons. And then we can take, I don't like this. There's not enough transparency. They don't notice, there's no notification. We have no idea when they're meeting. They meet in the middle of the day. There's so many reasons, And that's what we should find out first. Then we can discuss when we have our next meeting, and it's a public meeting. We can discuss it and then find out which government would satisfy the majority of these problems, and take it from there. Then you can examine each form of government in depth and say, well, this one won't work. This one has possibilities. This one has possibilities. And then you have the discussion with the public and ask them what they can educate them on that particular type of government without confusing them with all the rest of the types.
So you think that the whole self versus general governing powers is just too complex at the moment for general voters to. Yeah.
There's a reason. And I think one of the things that we had was the number are people that voted. That was a number in the county. There's got to be a problem. And then there's got to be a problem within Phillipsburg because they voted yes. And I've attended the meetings. I kind of know what the problem is. I'm not going to say it now, but it's, I would definitely say what the problem is. The biggest problem we've got in this whole county is the people in business. You know, I have friends who have businesses in town, but they live in the county. And they don't really have that much of a say. You know, because it's like 1 foot in the county and 1 foot in the town. They pay property taxes in the town. They pay property taxes in the county. They go to some of the meetings. I hear what they're upset about because I attend the meetings.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have many people that attend meetings. There's a reason why. They did a hearing last night, the town of Phillipsburg, on their budget. To me, that's very important. They're spending my money, not theirs, mine. And I attended it, but I'm not in the town of Phillipsburg, I live in the county. But I was shocked. It was 2 people.
Right. Okay, well, let's get back to this issue then for this particular question. So you suggest that we just excise that question, number one? Not even bring up the general governing powers versus.
I think we should say adoption of self-governing powers is always preempted. They answered it for the town. So they just blanketly said no, definitely not. No. Do you know what it is? So don't open that can and tell them. You know, it's like saying the streets are wet in Fort Greene. Well, there could be any other reason why the streets are wet.
Right. Okay.
So basically, just to keep that in mind when we do the other ones, you know, when we go.
What is your input on this? What's your feeling about it?
Well, I do know that it was discussed at the Peaburg Study Commission meeting that people did not understand the question about self-governing powers because they assumed that it meant that town would basically make its own rules. It's like, yeah,
Which is not the case.
and I wanted to address things like that in just the way I wrote these questions. I know that we had that page taken out entirely where it was just about how people feel about facilities that are related to the government because they're not related enough to these questions would get down to the actual changes that would affect those other things. And then beyond that, I mean, I would think this would be the first step towards opening up that discussion and explaining it further to people. Just seeing which parts of these, instead of what they don't like about the county, what they actually like about any of these suggestions.
So as it stands, if we include that, it is a paragraph. The question is a paragraph. It's what, about 5 or 6 lines. But the whole form itself is only 1 page, right? Which I don't think is excessive. I think a 1-page survey, to me, seems reasonable, considering the information we're trying to glean. So, I mean, worst case scenario, we just leave it in and see what we get. And if we don't think that it's valid, then, you know, we don't really move in that direction. But like Luke said, it's kind of an opening salvo, you know, to see if there's interest in that. Comments?
So what I have to say.
think unless there isn't going to be a motion made, then there would have to be a motion first.
A motion to do what?
Motion to either, let's say, make further changes or to approve this as is. Which we probably won't get tonight, right?
Okay. Would love to get this, done, and so we can move on to sending it out. It might be worth talking for another 5 minutes to get that squared away.
I mean, another thing, these are just the questions. I didn't include any sort of introduction about what this even is, when this shows up in people's mail. So that is something I would have to draft and add after the fact.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, you're right.
It's not in its final form, is what you're saying.
I would honestly be okay with the questions with that revision being the final form, but I would just need to add some kind of extra paragraph. I know the Peeper one had a whole cover letter about what was happening.
Right.
Elena wants to speak.
Oh, Elena?
Elena. It's just the, the draft. I understand that. There would be an introduction. And then there's also an end when it's going to be, has to be in by date.
Right. Right.
So this is just.
Well, okay, so does anyone want to make a motion to either drop that or keep it in as is, or with the amended changes Dan's suggestion? You want to make a motion?
Just for the change itself, I mean, I would motion to keep the paragraphs about self-governing powers versus general governing powers with the revisions suggested by Dan Clark in the survey.
I think I think that's a good idea. I second that motion.
Be discussion.
Okay. More discussion?
To get this going. I think it's very important.
Yeah.
We're really lost.
I know, right? It's running out of time. I know.
And time is running out. So send it out because we're limited on time. And to get this thing going, I think it should go out. I'm interested in hearing.
Okay.
Okay, so then all in favor of keeping the,
I mean, Elena is also saying that she just wants to get this out and actually send this out with the questions as they are. So if we are in agreement about that, should we amend the motion to just approve this with, Dan Clark's revision?
Isn't that what we just said?
No, it was just for that.
oh, just for the question, that's true, because we haven't really discussed yet. That's a good question. Do we need to discuss the remainder? I mean, this is what we came up with. Dan Clark didn't have any suggestions for the rest of it.
Yeah, I think
We did.
I think we touched on that, and there just wasn't too much.
So
Okay.
second.
Okay.
Okay, so
Go ahead.
So then I amend my motion to approve the survey questions as written, just with the revisions recommended by Dan Clark.
I second the motion.
Okay,
All in favor?
we'll open it if we're not
I forgot.
discussing further, then
The discussion, yes.
Oh, sorry. Leslie Richmond, question about number 6. Should Drummond be stricken from that question? Is that even an option?
Well, no, because Drummond's within the county. Phillipsburg's within the county. So if it went to to that particular type of government, where it's just the commission just the county commissioners basically do all the deciding, then there wouldn't be an individual Phillipsburg and individual Drummond governments as there is now. So, so basically, Drummond and Phillipsburg are in the same boat in that regard, because
The question is, I don't know if you're solid on that or if you need Clark's input on that, but Drummond didn't vote for the study review. Right? So are they even, is it even a possibility that would even be the case since they're not, so the county voted on, the study commission. However, the town of Drummond did not. So are you saying that they didn't even want a review, but with this, there's a possibility that they might get absorbed into county?
well, so it's two different entities. So countywide, everyone in Drummond is within the county. So everyone in Drummond voted whether to have the county review. And then they also voted whether to have the city of Drummond review as well. They voted no on the city, but the county as a whole voted yes on the county review. So every voter in Drummond will be able to vote yay or nay on the type of government if it comes to that at the end when it's on the ballot. And yeah, and everyone in Phillipsburg.
I don't think, no, I don't think Justine is correct on that. I don't think that there should be anything like that. I really don't. That they should, I mean, that right away, that they're back up.
Well, yes, but this speaks directly to one of the 6 forms of government that we're looking at. So, I mean, that's a really good question because, if you go,
Similar to the deal.
so there's
It's really. What do I have to do? Go into research to see how their government works? That's the whole idea. Basically, I think you're getting in too deep with this thing. Because if I saw that consolidate, no way do I want to consolidate.
right, then yeah, you would answer no on that. No, I think this is a very pertinent.
But so
Well, okay, so we could change that slightly to say something about under strictly county commission jurisdiction. So there won't be individual Phillipsburg governments and individual Drummond governments. That's what this is asking.
I don't know if that's.
So yeah, okay. So well, now that's good. Thank you for bringing that up. Maybe it does need to be a little more. I mean, we've been immersing ourselves in this stuff, so we kind of take it for granted. Okay. Go ahead, Jackie.
And they wanted to incorporate the county, that would all work. For Drummond. Because they get. It's growing so fast and it's so underserved. Yeah, I've got 5 commissioners.
Okay. Okay. Well, that's a little further down the line. This is a more general question, though. So, what do you think, Luke? Would it be better to put maybe just a little, a few more words of explanation within that question?
I wouldn't mind doing that necessarily. I would just say that at the Peaberg Study Commission's last meeting, obviously, really the reason I've included this question, and the reason why we chose to keep it last time we talked was that it was such a topic under the public eye because of the efforts from the Peabrook Study Commission to, I guess, explain it to people and really kind of push for it. And at their last study commission meeting, they discussed the results, which I guess we're also going to discuss today. And largely, the town people who answered that survey totally rejected that idea. And
Pretty well said.
yeah, and what their vice chair Peter said was that basically his suggestion is to just totally drop that topic now. I think it would still be interesting on our end, you know, with the different demographics of the county versus the town.
Exactly. Yeah, because there's a lot of folks out in the county not associated with either town. And we'd love to hear what they have to say too. Okay, so, well, I mean, so Phillipsburg and Drummond Consolidated were under the government of Granite County. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. Would you have any suggestions of what to add?
I mean, I know you had given an example earlier. I'm not sure if I have anything in mind right now, unless we wanted to just approve, like, just clarifying.
So was the wording of the question, is it the, I'm sorry, I forgot your name. Justine. Okay. So Justine, was the wording of the question such that like consolidate was the confusing part?
I still am not sure that Drummond would be a possibility. I guess they get to vote. So I'm hung up on Drummond not even wanting to change their form of government.
Right.
And now here it is in front of them, and there's a possibility that they can vote on that within their town. They like their town apparently the way it is, the form of government that they currently have.
Phillipsburg survey the same thing. That's what they said. Phillipsburg, they want to keep their, yeah. So yeah,
Did vote on, you know, doing a study commission, correct?
yeah, they did. Right. Right.
So I guess I'm just confused. There's even a possibility that they don't even want to change theirs, but now there's this county survey that is posing this possibility that, and you're right, they could just say no, but there's not a whole, they don't, I don't know how much they make of the county, you know what I mean?
Right. Well, that's the thing.
Not really.
Right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's all we're doing is asking, trying to get feedback. Okay. And yeah, I mean, Drummond, I mean, I don't know how many voters are in Drummond either, but it can't be more than what, a couple hundred at most. And, you know, countywide voters, that's over 1,000. So it's like, you know, it's a lot more than just the Drummond.
That's a consideration.
Right. And say no. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So if the majority within the county are of the Phillipsburg and Drummond mindset, then yeah, we kind of need to find that out. We need to know that. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, then I suggest we just leave it as is. Okay. Good with that, Elena?
Already said that. It's fine. Just
Okay.
that's
Well, let's-
just stand on.
Okay. So any further comments on that before the motion? Okay. Yep. Oh, yes, we did that. Dan Clark, we're going to incorporate the changes he suggested. So yeah, it's more specific. Okay. So you want to make the motion?
Well, we already had one.
Oh, we already made the motion. Okay, did we carry it?
Had a motion in a second.
And a second? Okay, all in favor of the motion? Aye. Abstain. Okay, Elaine abstains. So motion carried. We will send this out with the little introduction. Okay. All right, so next up on the agenda. Oh, did you want to discuss the P-Berg Study Commission questionnaire results? Elaine?
Yeah. People can look at
Right.
the questions people ask. Answer them. You can see the confusion.
Well, why do you say that they're confused? The answers are. Okay, yeah, I looked at it. So, oh, well, yes, there's always a few folks that do that kind of thing. I mean, I don't think that shows confusion.
I make them post this so people can see. I don't even know if they have it posted on their website, the town of Phillipsburg. I requested that they do it, but I got it by email and I shared it. Study commission.
Right. Okay. So what do you want to point out that's going to either help us or explain things to us further? Was there something in specific you wanted to point out?
The way estimated farms is going to be. Once you put all these things in, city manager, or this kind of manager, or John, South government, then you go say, you don't know what it is.
But how do you know that?
Been going around.
Okay, let me rephrase. Can I rephrase it? Because that was a poor question. So from the data we got here, what does this data tell you about how they don't know what they're talking about? How they don't know? Okay, well, can you explain to me and give me a specific example?
So I said, I invited him to our meeting, and he says, oh, I said, do you know what the study commission is? It's about the review. He said, no. I speak to other people. They get to say, oh, study commission, so you're reviewing the government we have? Yes. Well, thank God, because let me tell you, I'm fed up and
well, but doesn't okay. I know. So let me.
First, I'll talk to the Chamber of Commerce and invite to attend this meeting. Okay, I have been going and talking to the community, which I think we brought up once. We've got to talk to the community, and that's what I've been doing. And this is what the community is telling me.
Okay.
Talk to the people in Phillipsburg, and they already got this, and I said, didn't you get this survey? Oh, yeah. Okay. After I saw that, I just, yes, no, and I mailed it.
Okay. But getting back to the point, so what you're saying is the survey is too long and involved and complex. Is that correct?
You asked me to give the research, talk about the question, and I did.
Okay. Great. So, but is that what you're saying, that that questionnaire was bad because it was too long and too complex? I'm asking for clarification. I'm asking for clarification.
So, and this is what I did. And I'm here to debate with you. I'm sorry.
Well, that's exactly what we're hearing.
So I said what I felt it was.
I don't have too much further discussion. I mean, unless we want to just go over these one by one, I'm not sure if there's too much point because we did have a long discussion on our survey already, and that included some points of confusion that Peberg faced in its own. So I'm not sure if there's just any specific ones that you or Elena would like to bring up.
So, discussion, we didn't have this information. So here's the information. And that's basically what I did. And so there's the information. And if the people that the questions that are here, based on that.
Were there any? Okay, I just want to make sure that you're satisfied that we discussed this properly, because were there anything you gleaned from the Phillipsburg thing that we should like incorporate into our own, do you think?
Discussion. As I made survey, Dan Clark, so and so forth.
All right, well, let's move on then. Okay, so we're on to new business. Outreach efforts.
Was just something I had brought up last time and carried over kind of. I mean, I was thinking that if we are at this point getting the survey approved, then we could start kind of just planning visits the way that those have already been started for a while for the Peberg Study Commission. I know that they kind of did start theirs to share the survey around town a bit and explain it as well, which could help us, I guess, just as we start rolling this out. So I guess I would just ask for how soon you want to start that.
And so as far as outreach efforts go, what form do you see them specifically take?
I see those as going to places like Rotary and kind of taking Q&A for that, explaining what this is, because it probably has been too far out of the public's eye. It might help to actually reintroduce this, as we start rolling this out to get more responses.
Mhm. Well, yeah, I concur. I think we should start that as soon as we can. Do the two of you feel comfortable with going and speaking in front of a few folks? These are all small groups, they'll be, but explaining the various forms and taking questions.
I'm comfortable with that, but I would prefer to have at least two members present at each.
Oh, that's a point, right? Yeah, it's always good. Okay. Elena, what do you think? No, you've gone to meetings. No, this is us presenting, officially presenting as commissioners for the study.
Outreach efforts. And Luke, you mentioned going to different, and I said, yes, it's a great idea. I'm really doing that. And talking to the people. And it's interesting what you do here with the people.
Okay, so you've gone to group meetings and like presented the various forms of government and explained what they were? No, well, that's what we're talking here.
Outreach efforts.
Right.
Going to different places. Introducing maybe what we are. And when we meet, and if they'd like some more information, this is where they're going to get information at the meetings. And we can hear them, and they can hear us. I'm more interested in hearing what they have to say. And then we can discuss what form of government would be the solution to the people's problem.
Right.
Now, and that's kind of what, and if somebody says, well, I'm a team, I'm the director, or I'm just somebody who attends the meeting and says, thank you, I think this is very interesting. I'd like you to set up an appointment and so be on our agenda to have a discussion. That's what I've seen other towns do.
That's what we're talking about. We want groups, individual groups like Rotary, the Kiwanis, whatever. Welcome.
And inviting them.
One of, yeah, inviting them to come here, right? But this is a little more involved and a little more of our study focus centric.
National days, organizations, and locations. So how more involved is that?
Well, no, discussing the future outreach efforts. So we're suggesting that we.
Yeah, it was my agenda item, so I introduced that with my suggestion.
Okay, so how do you envision an outreach effort looking like?
Well, just a general outreach effort. I agree that Elena has been doing a good job at that, visiting particularly the town council meetings and the chamber. But for, a specific type that I kind of want to start implementing would be, like I said, definitely having a Q&A, so we can, I guess, get kind of that input that Elena was talking about. We don't have to go too hard, I guess, on the explanations of, the various forms, but mainly describing what we are in the first place. I think we need to start there. And then it definitely helps to announce ourselves, to reach out first to these various organizations so that, we can set up a date together. And there's guaranteed to be an audience of, the members of these organizations. So that's a way we can even, I guess, recruit people to start coming to our own meetings as well.
Okay. So then potential dates, organizations, and locations. So potential organizations would be obviously the Rotary, Chamber of Commerce would be another. Okay. And then what else does anyone suggest for? And this could be both Peaburg and Drummond, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is there a Kiwanis organization in the county?
In Drummond, yes.
In Drummond, okay. Kiwanis.
They would also definitely let us host these kinds of things at both libraries, but I think it might be a bigger crowd if we do Drummond's because they have like regular events like every second Tuesday or something like that.
Right. Yeah. I think us just coming as guests to their regular meetings, I think we'd get more out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Rather than having a special thing. Yeah, I agree. Anyone think of any other organizations?
But we can, on our website, there's a whole bunch of boards and things. There's a whole list of them. And that's online. The list is online, the different boards. When they have a meeting. Do you have a board?
Or yeah, that's a good one.
So there's a whole bunch. Those are your.
Hold that for a second, Jackie, and then we'll open it up in a minute here. Any other off the top of your head you guys can think of?
For me, not right now.
They're gonna come to us after too. There's a homeowners association. They had a nice big meeting to, I was gonna attend. I don't know, unfortunately.
Okay. How often do they meet? That's the thing. Like, there's an association out at Whiskey Flats where I live too, but we only meet once a year, so it's not really germane. Okay.
They do their own thing. There's no collaboration. As to me, as a voter, there's no collaboration in this county, coordination. People don't talk to each other except when they get upset about something. And that's the irrigators. There's 2 irrigation groups. When there was a meeting at the county commissioners discussing water, the irrigators were there, the homeowners from Georgetown Lake were there, ranchers were there, and I don't know if there was anybody there, hydrodynamics, who produces the electricity, but at that meeting, there were about 15 people on Zoom. And I don't know how many people were actually at the meeting. Did you attend that one by any chance? It was packed. So again, there's a problem. And you've got all these organizations and committees and boards. That's when they get together, when it affects them personally. The airport.
We got to go try and root those folks down. And PTA,
Meetings.
Is there a interest organization in this county? Just a second. Yeah. Yes, I'm asking you right now. Well, we're just trying to come up with groups, right? We're coming. Okay, Jackie, hang on a sec. Okay. Okay, so we've got a half dozen groups so far, and then we can look online to see what other ones there are. And so I did have another thought off the top of my head was, do we want to wait until we get some survey results before we do this? Would that be useful or not?
Hate to sound like a broken record. We're way behind, and we gotta catch up and do things.
That is the point. Yes.
There's no reason to wait for the survey results to start at least talking to people. And even if we do this right away, telling them there's a survey on the way, please fill it out and send it back ASAP. We missed, just a point of reference or whatever you want to call it. We missed out on a lot. We had the county fairs. People in other counties set up a booth. We missed the rodeos. There was so much potential to get the word out there, to talk to the community. But because of what happened, the commissioners, 2 of them elected, got up and quit in April. That was deplorable, in my opinion. And we're stuck with this. And they were so interested, and this is the point for the record, they were so interested in running for study commissioner and yet I don't see them. There must have been a reason why they were so interested in running for study commissioner, but I don't see them.
Okay, well, point of order, let's get back to the topic at hand here about outreach. Jack, what would you like to say?
Kathleen Butler, running for mayor, for the record. This is one reason I'm running for mayor. I'm so tired of hearing organization after organization and nobody wants to meet with the common people. I'll tell you something, I've been here for 39 years. And it's running with everything in and out. Word for it, they do. And
Okay.
what I think you should do public outreach at is the senior citizens in Granite.
Yeah, senior center.
While they're eating.
There you go. Thank you. I missed that one. Senior centers. Yep, seniors. That's a very good suggestion. Yeah, thank you. Okay. Well, let's keep it on this topic. Just any other outreach suggestions?
Organization. The taxpayers want to change. They're tired of their local government. So you really have to educate these people. And if you don't go to Granite, they'll think that you don't get anything because they'll vote you down because they didn't care about us. They didn't even waste their time to come down and see it.
Okay, point taken. Okay. So as far as potential dates and locations, we already discussed, we think it's best to go to their meetings and their locations for these organizations. Potential dates. So I'm thinking the way to do it is for one of us, just kind of divide up these particular groups, contact the pertinent person, and see if we can set up a time when they'll welcome us to come and talk for a few minutes and then do a Q&A. Does that seem reasonable?
To me, yeah.
Okay, since you're the chair, again, you made the decision, this sounds like a good idea. And I think that they have online, on the county website, they have who the directors are, who the chairs are, who the members are. And if they don't have contact information, which they should, maybe Sarah could probably administrator, so that you can send an email to all of them as the chair of the study commission. Give them a kind of introduction, and we would be more than happy to set up an appointment to be on their agenda, a time, if they would please let us know. And that brings up the other question about the website. If they email the study commission page or the study commission email address, who gets it? I don't get anything. Do you get anything? Do you get anything? It's only if Sarah, who's a clerk recorder, sends it to us. So I don't understand why we need that, and that's another point.
Conduit where all the emails come through, and then isn't it for public? Just
An email. They're supposed to be not one by one. It's supposed to be out there. We can have that. He can do it. I mean, everything is done unbelievable in this county. It really is. And this is one of the things that people are fed up with. There's no transparency. They have no idea when the meetings are. They have no ideas what they're discussing. Take a look at this. and this is the bulletin board, in the county. They got the agendas up there. This place is closed on the weekends. So people don't have access. They don't come here to look at stuff. They read the newspaper. They look on the website, and that's where they see, and they look at the agenda. I'm going to be there at that meeting, definitely. And you see, this is one of the major problems that we have, and we're just going along with the problem. We're an entity. We're a government entity. We're not a committee and an advisory committee. We're a government entity. And we should have the capability that all government entities have, as far as circulating information, inviting people. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. And so then what do you suggest is the best way to make these appointments with these groups?
Right now, email letters. Signed by you as the chair. And we agree it goes out. And it goes out to these different organizations and different boards and
Okay.
something.
So you're suggesting, let me just make sure I'm clear. You're suggesting that we draft a little email letter that we send out to each and every one of these, and we get the email addresses for these various organizations and send that letter out to them, and then see who responds and welcomes us. Is that Luke, what do you think?
I kind of just feel like we need to be more personal. I mean, I know you mentioned the divide and conquer thing. I mean, each of us could just reach out personally to a different category that we discussed. I mean, Elena wanted to reach out to the county boards. I mentioned the organizations, and then it was also recommended by Jackie doing some places where it would be more so the community, like the senior centers. So I would myself suggest that each of us just reach out to 2 or 3 of those organizations over email or over phone. Because like Elena's been saying, it's easy to get their contacts, their addresses, their phone numbers. And then honestly, if we just mass emailed all of the county boards, it might also turn out overwhelming. Like that's a big possibility.
Well, that is true, right? Because we actually have to go to these meetings and do our thing. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, no, I do like that suggestion, Luke. Like for instance, I know the head of the airport board. I can just like pickleball. I can set that up real easy. I know Rotary folks. So I do like that suggestion. A one of us?
Board is a study commissioner, an elected study commissioner.
From this study? Oh, are you on the airport board? Oh, no, he's no longer on the commission. He's no longer on our study commission. I don't know. What? Okay, anyway. Okay, so so I like that idea.
So do we kind of just want to, if we're going to start asking these people if we can meet with them right away, do we want to like set an earliest date to actually meet with them for say 3 weeks out from today? Or would you prefer something different?
That's fine. There is be leaving the country at the end of October. So as long as it is before the 23rd.
things to do regarding the 18th. What kind of-
23rd to the November 12th.
From October 23rd to November 12th. But I shouldn't miss any of our meetings.
Yeah, I think we just barely make it. And then would we just kind of keep in touch between Sarah on, what we get in terms of responses from, board leaders and such?
Right. And I like your idea, excuse me, I like your idea, Luke, of, having two people go. Um, so when we get a positive response from one of the groups, we can see what their date is and then check with each other to see who's available.
Yeah.
You good with that, Elena?
Do we want to be a little more specific on who each of us is contacting? Like,
Yes.
I could do organizations and Elena could do boards, and then maybe you could do like the community centers and stuff. Would that
Yeah, I can check with the senior centers, and I could see. I'll check in with the airport board because I see them all the time. And I could check in with Rotary. Nobody else wants to.
Well, I'm a member, so
Oh, you're a member. Never mind. You do that one. Oh, good one.
So would there be anything else on that for now?
No, not for me.
Right, just because it's somewhat related, because we want this to somewhat in some way coincide with the survey. Do I have permission to just handle actually getting that out between now and let's say 3 weeks later?
I think that's a great idea.
Have authorization to get the survey sent out within 3 weeks. We had approved the questions, but we never decided if we're going to send it at this point or not.
Right.
Yeah, I can send something out with the revisions that were recommended and also have those draft intro and outro, and we can just communicate about that, outside of the meetings over email with Sarah.
So we can get it as soon as possible.
Yep.
Okay. And then, so after we see those via email, then go ahead and send them out. Is that good? Okay, I motion that we do that. I motion that Luke drafts it up, shows it via email to the other two commissioners, and then sends it out within 3 weeks. Okay. All in favor?
Do we want public comment during?
Oh, public comment. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, motion carried. Okay, so What we have left then is agenda items. Set the agenda, location, date, and time for next meeting.
So that would be October 22nd, right? Or,
4 weeks from today that we're talking.
yeah,
Calendar. There it is. Yeah, October 22nd. Yep. Will that work for you, Elena?
Well, discussing this. Wednesday at 6 p.m. Whether it's
That's the 22nd.
well, it's gonna be when we're gonna do our next meeting.
Right.
But we're on agenda items, location, date, and time for next. So I'm giving my okay, that we put a definite time that we meet every the fourth Wednesday at 6 p.m. at the courthouse. And I guess we can leave it that way. And then
That's a yes from you then? That's a yes from you on the 22nd?
I'm being finished. Here's a suggestion. Again, since we're so behind, I think we should have a working session. Because we can do a lot of the discussion we had done now at a working session. And we should maybe do that every third Monday. So we can write down things, discuss things, like we did now, that took up a heck of a lot of time. So that we'll be ready for the actual meeting.
So a non-public working meeting is what you're suggesting?
Looking at but we're not gonna be meeting here.
Hmm.
Okay, so normally we have a discussion. The public wants to attend, they can attend by Zoom, and then we can ask for questions when we're done with the discussion or comments, when we're finished doing the discussing things, having a working session. So this way, when it comes time to actually have our meeting, we don't have to go through this discussion. We know exactly what's on there. There's a motion to accept or not accept. And based on that. So that's my suggestion.
But isn't your point also that you want people to attend this meeting so they learn stuff? And if all we do is make motion after motion and then we're done in 5 minutes, that wouldn't be very useful in that regard, would it?
Other meetings. I was a director for the Big Sky Passenger Rail Authority. I was a director for Granite County. I attended all their meetings, and I learned an awful lot on how those meetings were conducted. And there was discussion, but it never went on and on and on because there was discussion. The different committees, or they had a work session. That's what they discussed at committees. We don't have committees. So we can have a work session to discuss things that we came up with. If we go walking around and so says this, that, and the other thing, I'll make notes of it. And then it'll be discussed in the session. Somebody brought this up. So I think it's a good idea that we should do something like that. We have a discussion. And then we decide, okay, should we present it at the next meeting and have a formal motion? What should we do? And that's basically how things go. And it's much smoother. Other counties do it that way. You can look at other counties. Missoula, which is right next door to us. Look at how they conduct meetings. You've got the county, excellent. You've got the city of Missoula, which is, I believe it's a self-governing type of government. Still, things are a pleasure to watch, and you should see the people that attend on Zoom. So we have to try to learn from what other towns are doing, how meetings are held, and it goes much smoother. We wouldn't have this debate back and forth. That could be at a work session. Because the public wants to know, what are you doing? What are you deciding?
Okay.
And then they know it's there, they can see the draft of the motion, and
Okay.
we can discuss it. There's no more is what I'm saying.
So let me summarize and you tell me if I'm correct in hearing what you're saying. So you want to do the meat of the work during a separate work session between the three of us. And then this meeting every Thursday, fourth Thursday.
Meeting.
This will be just kind of the formal meeting where we present everything and do the motions. Okay. All right.
Session before.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right. Okay. I get it. So I'm correcting that. Okay. So Luke, what do you think of that?
I would say that's not how public meetings really work. If we discussed, let's say, all of these items, and then at the very end, that's when we open it up to public comment. Another thing, I mean, just saying that right now, I mean, we would essentially be discussing each item by item. If it is a public meeting, we would actually need to have an agenda. So that meeting would just be the meeting, just without votes. And then I guess
you were done.
yeah, and then our next meeting would just be where we would actually have the possibility for members of the public to come in. They would just see us making the votes.
Right.
It just doesn't make sense to me.
Elena, you got the floor.
you don't have people here. This is actually coming here. We can get a lot done on Zoom. The discussion with us. We can look up things while we're on the internet, we're on Zoom. We can share files, we can do everything and not waste the public's time. If they want to attend and watch the working session, that's fine. But then we come up with definite answers instead of having a debate, which we're having now. Now that shouldn't be the point, as I'm saying. There's Robert's Rules of Order, you know that, but we're supposed to follow that. I should bring it and I should follow it myself. But there's an order to have a meeting, a public meeting. We're government, okay? This is a public meeting. Transparent, open, and there for the benefit of the people, not for ourselves. Okay, well, I don't understand why it's redundant. We have, as far as this is concerned, if there's, okay, public comments on matters not on the agenda, that's good, great. And then every single one, there should be public comment open. And the public comment should be discussion regarding a resolution to do this, and then people look at it. And then there's a paid discussion. It's already gone in depth by the working session for the people that were involved with the committee that was dealing with it. And that took up a lot of time because there's a discussion. But when you have a public meeting, the public wants to, they need the facts. And they don't want to hear a debate. And that's all, you know, basically, that's why you have the public attend certain meetings and they just don't bother with another meeting.
Well, another way to look at it would be the public would be interested, if they're interested in the topic, would be interested in the discussion, in the debate, in the reasoning various people have and how they come to that conclusion, the group.
see what works, and I can see the outcome. And that's the whole thing. I can see it, and that's why I'm discussing. If I, let's do this, let's do that. That's a great idea. What do you think? But I've seen how meetings are properly handled. And they don't waste time, they get to it, you know, point, there's a lot of discussion done before. And then I have those, you know, discussion on it, and that's it. And if the public or if somebody brings up some damn good points, then okay, we'll table it for the next meeting. And then there's more discussion in between.
Well, I'm going to have to disagree with you from my point of view, because I think the point of these meetings and the reason they're public is so people can see the various viewpoints, see the various discussions, see how we come to our conclusions. Luke?
I don't disagree that some boards, some councils, and commissions already come to their meetings knowing they're going to make a certain decision. That's in a lot of cases, probably even here where, you know, Blaine is the one who drafts resolutions. The county will approve them, you know, right away, and that gets sent out to the public hearing, where the commission doesn't really discuss it after even hearing, you know, complaints. And then, you know, people just come and basically waste their time, you know, making those critiques when the commission is just going to do what it's going to do anyway. And that's the case in towns I've been to, like Deer Lodge, where they have a manager who makes all the recommendations. Same thing with those public hearings and them not having any effect. One thing is that we don't have somebody drafting our resolutions. We're doing this on our own. And I just kind of agree with the whole thing about, you know, transparency and letting people see how we're coming to the process of writing all this stuff up and getting their input as we create it. We're just not, we're not a county commission that's making laws or anything like that.
Right.
It's the people should have a lot of their own input on this. And I just see it as beneficial for them to be there during the process instead of after we've made our decisions.
Excellent. That's an excellent. I forgot about that. The minutes, Granite County Attorney Blaine Roger had refused to represent the study commission. So we don't have an attorney. And so we need an attorney so that we have questions. We can ask that attorney. And if we need help writing up a resolution, we can get that advice. Legal person. So what do? We don't have anybody, do we?
I don't think.
That's something we should have asked Dan Clark. I think, did anybody mention that the county attorney refused to give us advice? Anybody mention that to Mr. Clark? I will.
Okay, so back
I
to
will get in touch with Dan Clark and bring up that point that our county attorney said anything to do with us.
okay.
The question I have some about.
So back to our next meeting. Are we agreed the 22nd, October 22nd, 6 p.m. here?
Yes.
Okay.
And then did you two want to make agenda suggestions at this time? Like I would just report back on what I've done with the survey and where we're going with those outreach efforts. I don't know if you guys have anything else.
Yeah, I'll report back on who I contacted and what the results were.
as far as outreach goes as well.
And we have a discussion if who's going to represent us with legal matters.
We'll discuss that.
Also, my clarification of um, commissioners that are appointed. And those that are elected, is there a difference? Answer to the, I don't wonder, besides the people, do we have to get any kind of approval from the county commissioners? I don't know clarification on that. I understand that there is a process that's followed when somebody is not happy with a elected official. I want clarification on that. I have to have something on it for budget, the budget report. We should have that monthly, so we know how much money we have, how much money we spent. And like Zoom, I don't know, what is this costing us, because you mentioned.
Yeah,
Something.
Yeah, we approved that expenditure, so it's $159.90 a year.
So there should be a report how much we have, how much we spent. And that should be monthly.
Okay. Oh, I have one more item that's not on the agenda.
We're working on the website for the Granite County page, upcoming events. I would like to see something implemented there. So it says October, this next day, 22nd. Something like that. You can put it up online. I want to see something like that information. Study. Discussion of having our own YouTube page on the Granite County Study Commission. Because this is historical and there should be a record of this particular. After 10 years. The next one, but at least information is there and the public can see the answers.
So my addendum here is the newspaper column that I'll write about next. Suggestions of what you want me to put in that column for this particular week.
Just going to the public that took place here, so I think we use the minutes. And basically just cover the important points. And people can expect a survey. Just
Right.
it's like an announcement. It's not an op-ed or anything like that. I'd like to see it as a column.
Well, that's what it is. Yeah, Peggy agreed to do that.
Separate column.
So, yeah, I could certainly write about what we discussed, but would it be useful to, each successive column maybe write a paragraph describing the choices that we have?
guest. I hope he's still there, but. Yes. I mean, that's journalism. I wonder if he has any suggestions.
Well, we have a journalist right here as well.
Yeah, and we're going to be in touch going further. And we also had a very good conversation, myself and Sam, about the background of this whole study commission and the history. So uh, glad to keep that conversation going.
Okay.
Any suggestions?
So my question is, should the column include a little bit of nuts and bolts about, you know, the forms of government?
And just what we discussed, okay, the point, the major summary, a summary of the major points. And that's it. I wouldn't go into details explaining the different forms. Just the major points. The survey is going to go out. We are going to meet. It's been established. Welcome them to the, here's you can welcome, please. And we're going to be on Zoom. Major points.
Okay.
We discussed it really.
Okay. What's your opinion, Luke?
I think basically what Elena's saying is a good idea. Like this meeting in particular, the most important thing is the survey is going out.
Right.
Maybe if you wanted to, I guess, give like a little truncated version. I don't know. I wouldn't make a decision on that. But then, of course, the other big thing is that we have a Zoom now. We need to share that account and that code. We could talk about how we are going to start outreach efforts as well. The thing is that we haven't gotten into too much deep discussion of actually, I guess, the different forms of government beyond what we've discussed about the survey, which was mainly about governing and self-governing. Like, again, I really don't have a suggestion on whether or not you want to include explanations on these things so far, but that if you did, I would recommend that it only be explaining whatever we discussed at length in terms of those specifics.
At this meeting. I see. Okay. Okay.
And contact information.
Yes, absolutely.
Any questions?
Yeah.
And Sam, I see you there. And if you have anything you'd like to mention.
No, I appreciate hearing this conversation though. I thought it was really interesting and yeah. I think I'll definitely be in touch though. And I'll tentatively plan to attend the next meeting also at the end of the in October 22nd. But yeah, I'll be in touch for sure.
And your email address and your telephone number. I think I saw it somewhere.
Yeah. Um yeah, Luke has it also and should feel free to share it around.
Okay. Cool. Well, thank you for your feedback on that. Appreciate that. And so, any public comment on matters not on the agenda?
No, thank you.
What? You sat through the whole thing and no public comment at the end? Thank you for coming. Appreciate it. Yeah, me too. Okay, well then I motion we adjourn the meeting. Okay, meeting adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sam. See you later.